Jupiter in the fourth house. Astroloca. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support is greatly appreciated. So, Jupiter. Jupiter is the lord of the ninth house and the 12th house, and it is a ruler over the signs of Pisces and Sagittarius. And Jupiter aspects the 5th, 7th, and ninth house from where it sits. And in this case, it's sitting in the 4th house, so it's aspecting the 8th house, the 10th house, and the 12th house. And Jupiter is one of the most important planets in your horoscope after the moon. So Jupiter, what does Jupiter represent? It represents the judges, advisors, scholars, professors, the experts and gurus, and father-like figures. And Jupiter, internally, what does it show? It shows your ability to judge and advise other people. It shows your ability to master a knowledge. So you take this knowledge and then you share this knowledge, you teach this knowledge. So Jupiter is also the teacher as well. And Jupiter likes laws. It likes people following the law. It likes people who are not they're with society. They're with religion. Everything is done within the lines. This is somebody who follows society and rules and regulations. And Jupiter's qualities are of wisdom. It's also has to do with your education. So your basic to your master's to your PhD, that is all Jupiter. And Jupiter is your ability to receive advice, and it's also your ability to give advice. So if your Jupiter is exalted, you're able to actually have a greater awareness of what is around you and how to utilize all that information, all the tools around you to achieve the things you want to achieve. So being able to receive wisdom and advice is a very important quality in order to be successful. It's your ability to receive counseling and to counsel other people. Jupiter's effects on your life. So why is Jupiter so important? What does it bring into your life? It's prosperity, it's fortune in your life, it's your good luck factor. So depending on how strong your good luck factor is, that's basically the level of ease and effort you'll have to put into your life, or how easily your life actually moves forward. And because Jupiter is expansion and it's optimism. So if Jupiter is well placed, you'll have a good amount of optimism. And the expansion of Jupiter is very slow. It's gradual and it's growing over time. So if Jupiter is well placed, you'll see growth in the areas where you see Jupiter showing its powers. And if your Jupiter is debilitated, then you'll see that the expansion is not as great as it should be, and you'll see that your optimism is more it's less. You may even seem pessimistic in those areas. So depending on how your Jupiter is placed. So what does Jupiter like? Jupiter likes rituals and religion, tradition. It likes culture, education, travel, and morals and values. So if your Jupiter is well placed, these are the things that will play a huge role in your life. You will follow these things. You'll follow the traditions in your culture, and you'll follow your religions. You'll be very interested in these things, and they're part of your daily life. If Jupiter is not so well placed, you'll see that these things do not actually play a huge role in your daily life. They will not have meaning in your life. So you may naturally not be so inclined to religion or any kind of religion. You may not be so inclined to follow your culture, and you may not be inclined to pay so much attention to your education as well. You may not be interested in traveling. So it depends on how your Jupiter is placed. But Jupiter, well placed, does bring these things into your life. Jupiter, it represents your husband, and it's the giver of children, usually male children. And Mars is your male friend, your boyfriend. It could be your brother. And so this is basically what Jupiter represents. It's the husband and the giver of your children, and that's the role it plays in your chart. So Jupiter in the fourth. Now, what does that mean? So Jupiter in the fourth. What is the fourth house? It's your mother. It's your motherland. It's where you're born. It's the real estate. So again, your home. It's your upbringing and your happiness. It's cars and luxuries. It's the comforts of life. It's the convenience of life. So if your Jupiter is well placed in the fourth, then you'll see that these things are very, very they're very good for you, because the wealth comes easy so that your upbringing is well. If your upbringing is well, your happiness will be there, the nurturing mother will be there. So basically, the foundation of life is actually very, very good, which sets you up for a very good and healthy, successful life. So this is important. So this is a good placement. It brings a lot of happiness and joy, and it's very favorable, and it gives you the ability to to be wise and make good decisions. It brings spirituality into your life, and it's very good for your domestic affairs. So, so Jupiter exalted in the fourth house. So the fourth house is the house of the moon. Jupiter and the moon, they're friends. So it's exalted here. So again, Jupiter is sitting in the fourth. It's looking at the eighth house, the 10th house, and the 12th house. So Jupiter here is also bringing this good luck factor, the happy rays, to these areas of your life as well, to these placements in your chart as well. So the 8th, the 10th, and the 12th, what do they represent? 8th house is like secrets, it's hidden things. It's a really good old age, because that Jupiter is slow, it's expanding. It brings good into the 10th as well. So the fourth is actually, it's your mom. They're usually, the females of the house are usually big chested. They're usually heavier. They're usually religious women who have good morals and values. And the house is usually very spacious. And this is a person who drives like nice cars. They have the luxuries of life. And also, Jupiter will also look at the 10th from here as well. And that is your work environment. It's your career. It's how you show up on the world stage. It's your reputation. And so it has a very positive effect on there as well. It brings expansion into that area as well. Now, talking about expansion, in the 12th house, that's the house of, it's considered the house of expenses. And here you're spending a lot of money on spiritual things, you're spending money on education, and also this has to do with bed pleasures as well. So it's affecting these things, it's bringing expansion to these areas as well. So Jupiter in the fourth, it's going to give you a big house. It's usually, because it's a good thing, it's exalted here, and it's a benefic. So usually here you will see that your house is large. It's usually near a good landmark, so a church, a school, a park, something that is auspicious. And you'll also experience the conveniences of life. It's an easier life because the foundation of life is well placed here. It gives a long life. And even with your job, because it's looking at the 10th, you're doing your job and at your convenience too. You're doing it kind of leisurely, Sex here is not so great because it is the house of expenses and loss. It's considered a house of loss. And you are spending your money on religious things here because, again, Jupiter is looking at the 12th. So Jupiter represents your husband. It also represents male children. So you could meet your spouse through your mom. You can meet your spouse, him or her, in your home environment, your immediate environment. Somehow it's connected to the home, to the mother, to the motherland. So now, when we're looking at charts, we have to look at the whole chart and all the placements and how they're interacting with one another and what the full story of your chart is. So please do not go by one placement. That just gives you a little snippet of your chart. It doesn't give you a full a full story of what your chart is. So please do not look at it in parts. You need to look at your chart as a whole. So thank you for watching my video today,